All right, hello everyone. Today we're gonna go over part two of this June skill update balance review. Um, on part one, we discussed about Assassin and Dervish changes. We went over the changes, ranked them, and uh, and you can check the first video to see the tier list of those two classes. Today we're gonna go over Elementalist and Mesmer changes. The latter being the biggest part, obviously, because a lot of changes there. A very heated class, if I may say. I know a lot of people want to know what I think of these changes. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's dive in with and start with the Elementalist. With the first skill, Ash Blast. Um, that skill was not used in PvP at least. I don't think it was used anywhere, to be honest. They reduced the recharge time from 15 to 10. Let's see what Ash Blast does. So earth damage, burning foe struck are X'd for 5 seconds and they have a chance to miss. So it's a rather defensive skill, does a little bit of damage and blinds people that are burning. In practice, it's a little bit hard to pull off, honestly. You'd need to have a team that does reliable burning and that does reliable burning on martial characters for the blind to be worth. It's not something you see often, honestly. Generally speaking, when skills rely on burning, 95% of the time they're useless. And I think that skill is one of them. I don't think we're gonna see it played more, honestly. I don't. You could honestly put that skill to 5 second, and I'm not sure. I mean, 5 second cooldown, and I'm not even sure if it would be played, honestly. So for me, this is a non-impactful change. I just realized that I did not do the tier list like explanations on the site. Maybe I can Maybe I can find them and copy paste them from the old video. Let me do that really quick. Um, bear with me. I promise this will take only 30 seconds. Maybe they're not exactly like they were. I'm just taking this from my notes, but it should give enough. Add a row below for the meme category. All right. The seed here is like small niche. Maybe I like that one. Maybe someone cooks, maybe someone comes up with a build. It still won't make the skill good, but playable maybe in the right setup. So here we are with the here we are with the rankings. They're a bit more explained now. So Ash Blasts C tier, D tier. I think it's D tier, honestly. Irrelevant. We're not gonna see that skill played. Maybe you will see it in some PvP like smaller PvP like Air Ray maybe, but even then, I don't think anyone would play that, honestly. Um, Double Dragon. Decrease recharge time from 20 to 15. Increase damage from 1040. Okay, no, never mind. It just says increased damage. It doesn't say what the damage was before, so it's a bit unlucky. And increase the set on fire duration from 0.23 to 1.34. So the latter part is really good, honestly. It's a subsequent buff, honestly, like big buff. Um, the damage was, I would say they buffed the damage by 20%, probably, from what I recall, along those lines. And the recharge time from 20 to 15. Um, the duration being 8 seconds. Sorry, my headset just randomly shut down. Um, the duration was is 8 seconds if you have a plus 20% staff or weapon. It's around 10 seconds. 10 seconds out of 20 was definitely unplayable. Um, but 10 seconds out of 15 is definitely more playable if you account in the fast recharges sometimes you will be getting. So it's a cute skill, honestly. Um, I I still think it's a meme skill. It looks super cool. It's funny. Is it competitive? No, it's not competitive. Will it be because of the update? No. But I think someone can cook. I think someone can cook. I think you can make a whole team build around that, and the team build can do something, can output, can win games, can surprise. Um, I don't think it would ever be a, a meta build though. So small change. I mean, sizable change. In fact, it could be B as well. I'll put it to B. You know what? I think it's big enough of a change to go a tier of um, skill goes up a tier, right? When it comes to making builds, it's a good buff. It's a good buff because we will see it more, but it's still the skill, the root. When we talk at the root level of the skill, it's still not an amazing skill. Fireball, increased range of effect from adjacent to nearby. Uh, it's a pretty good change. Fireball is was historically not played when you would play a fire rally. I've barely ever seen it brought by any fire rally. Um, so they increased the overall range of impact. Um, I mean, cool buff. Is it enough? I don't think so. I think the fire release have other tools that are still better. So I doubt we will see that come into play. So it's a C change. Could be a D. It's a D change actually. It's cute, but not gonna do anything. Gusts, probably one of the biggest change of the whole skill update. I would say at least one of the most eated one and one of the change that people have talked the most about. Increase recharge time from 10 to 15 and reduce the range of cold damage on cast from nearby to adjacent. So less AoE damage and more recharge. So now what this means is if you play at somewhere between if you play at 14 to 16, it's an 11-second duration. Let's say 13 seconds durations with the staff ancient buff, 20% buff. So what this means is if you don't get a fast recharge, you cannot queue the skill, which is a big change, honestly. It also means outside of upkeep, it also means you cannot, I mean, you spam it less, so you KD people less, and etc. So, uh, big change, honestly, big change. I thought they nerfed it even more, to be honest, but apparently no. It's still a big change, impactful change for sure. Um, I think the skill is still playable. It's just less strong. So I would say considering how meta it was together with the Wota since, I think it is a good I think it is a good change for sure. And an impactful one. I think 15 energy would have also been a good change, not together with the duration though. But um, but yeah, pretty solid change. Um, one of the biggest probably. Kinetic armor, increased effect duration from 8 to 12, decreased recharge time from 60 to 30. So for those who don't know, kinetic armor, you cast it and then it renews every time you cast a spell. And before it was 8 seconds, and now it's 12 seconds. The tooltip is wrong here. Yeah, they did not update that apparently on the wiki. Um, so, or maybe it didn't take effect. Maybe I don't know why the wiki didn't do that. So let's assume the change actually works. So it's easier to upkeep kinetic armor, and if you lose it, it's you can renew it sooner. You can restart it sooner. So really interesting buff. I don't think it's a good skill. It's an insanely niche skill, and I am not sure it needed the buff it's getting. Um, I would not put it to meme. I would put it to D because for the guy that will ever play this, the skill is better. But good luck finding a build where you can play that. Lightning Strike, another big change of the LE. Decrease damage and conditional damage from 541.50 to 533.40. So, in my eyes, this is a big nerf and a small buff. Let me explain. It is a big nerf because abs when we talk about absolute numbers, it does less damage and quite a bit less damage as well because it does it on the both it's the damage and the conditional damage. So for those who don't know, when you're exhausted, Lightning Strike applies an X that basically does the same effect again. So it would do double the damage if you were exhausted, if you had any kind of an exhaustion. And now they removed 10 flat damage on both ends, which is 20% nerf of damage. Why is this a small buff? And it's more because of a meta thing, but people usually try to prevent that damage with a Spirit Bone. And I think no, in some cases, you will not trigger the Spirit Bones. So it's some could say it's a bit far-fetched buff, and I think it is, but it's still in its demise and in its and in its nerf, it got you could cope a bit and say that at least if they have Spirit Bone, I'm gonna pass under sometimes. So, but obviously a big nerf. But it's still a good skill. I don't think you can do an air LE bar without that skill. So good, meaningful, but not insane because will still be played. It's good. It's less damage. It's too good. It was too good. I think today you cannot make an air LE bar without that. So I'll let you imagine how that was before. So yeah, good nerf. Let's go to the next. Lightning Surge, another big nerf to Ellie, generally speaking. Increase the energy cost from 10 to 15. Um, a very popular PvP elites, more so GvG, um, array I think as well. Um, It is that bar, the Lightning Surge LE bar, was considered to be one of the highest damage burst bar in the game that you could reliably rely on. It was very popular for a long time. I would say maybe 7, 8 years until newer years where people pushed the meta a little bit and figured out Mind Shock was essentially better. But Lightning Surge was still played in some builds where you could hide yourself and just spam. And when the Lightning Surge spams, a Lightning Surge does a lot of damage. But now the increased energy costs hurts it a lot. Anybody that plays Guild Wars know that from 10 to 15 energy there is a big gap. It's not like the same as in 15, 5 to 10, because you have to take into account the mana pool of people, right? And 15 mana in your mana pool is a big percentage, generally speaking. Obviously less to Ellie's, but it's still a big nerf. It's still a big nerf. If you factor in the change to Lightning Strike as well, it's a double nerf to the Lightning Search bar itself. So big nerf. I don't think they should have nerfed that skill. Maybe they could have kitten nerf it, like 10% damage less, 5%, like just to say we touched it. Um, but now they kind of killed it, and it was already underplayed. It was already like it was. If we speak about metagame, it was kind of shadowed by other stuff. So unnecessary nerf in my eyes. Um, So I will. It was gonna be the first meme change in the series, I think. Um, it could very very well be a D as well. It's like they killed it because I think they almost killed it. I think it's gonna be very hard to see usage of that skill again. Um, but is it meme? Is it D? Did they kill it or is it a what the fuck? I'm not sure. I'll leave it to D. I think it deserves. No, I'll leave it to a meme. Sorry, I think it deserves a meme tier because why, right? Why? Why would you do that? Who would think it's a good change? Who would suggest that? Honestly, I'm a bit confused. Sandstorm decreased recharge from 25 to 20. Increased damage per second from 1030 to 2040. It's a big damage increase, and also you get it sooner. Let's look at so the duration is 10 seconds, the cooldown is now 20, um, and the damage is much higher. Um, the damage was buffed like I think it's like 25% damage buff across the board because yeah, it's a pretty big buff. It remains just an AoE elite though. Um, it's hard to imagine anyone bringing that, and if you want to bring such skills, kind of feels like you would rather go fire elite. So, okay, sure. Um, Probably D tier, honestly. It's like if we're talking about GvG, that change does nothing. So yeah, I would say it's a D tier change. Tenai's Wind. Increase energy cost from 5 to 10. Another nerf to air release. Air release have been haunted and hunted this patch. Pretty big nerf. The skill is still good. The skill will still be played probably, but it is a sizable nerf. Yeah, yeah. It's a big nerf. I think it was used in couple builds. I think one of the most common build was in the Mind Shock double Ellie split build, and it just made the Mind Shock build energy sustaining a bit harder. Um, I've heard from people that play that build that you can feel the nerf. So yeah, pretty big nerf. I think it's okay to nerf. I think that skill was a bit too strong, honestly. And I think nerfing the mana is okay because if you nerf the damage, then I think it becomes a bad skill. So maybe you could have nerfed the cooldown reduction, the cooldown, but I think it would make it worse. So I think all in all, nerfing the mana is the best way to nerf it and not kill it. So I would say that's a good change. Um, good change. Not insane. Wasn't absolutely required, but it's there now and it's okay. So it's fine by me, honestly. Thunderclap. Increased range from adjacent to nearby. I barely know the skill. It was definitely a meme skill. Probably still is. Create a massive shockwave at target's foe location. Deal some damage to target and all nearby foes. So this is the part they've changed. It's not adjacent now, it's nearby. So the guy, you create a shockwave at the foe's location and it does damage to nearby foes instead of adjacent. And the foes that are struck are interrupted and suffer from cracked and weakness. It's a good skill. I mean, I don't think nerfing the range makes it viable, though. So I don't think it's more viable. I don't think it, therefore, I don't think it's a good change. Um, I would say it's an irrelevant change, honestly. Um, I think it was good to touch it and buff it, but I don't think that was enough. All right, Mesmer now. We're entering the really interesting category now. I mean, Ellie was interesting as well. It's just that that one is just much more, much bigger. So let's dive into it basically. Arcane Conundrum. Increase recharge from 20 to 30. For 5, 13, 15 seconds, spells cast by target foe and all adjacent foe take twice as long to cast. When this X ends, you gain some energy. They increase the recharge from 20 to 30. This skill was not played in HA as far as I know, probably not played in Array, probably not played in GvG. I mean, I might have tossed into one or two builds in my life, but and they killed it. They killed it. There's no reason to have touched it, at least nerf it. If anything, maybe you should even buff it. Maybe not. It was decent. Um, okay, so they killed it for absolutely no reason. That's definitely a meme tier change. Like, definitely a bad change. Why would you kill that skill? Why? Why would you touch this? Don't do that. Thank you. Auspicious Incantation. Reduce recharge from 25 to 20. So Auspicious Incantation is a really good enchant skill that will make uh, the next spell you cast give you a lot of energy, basically. It's gonna also disable it for a little bit more time, but that is counteracted by the fact that you get a lot of energy for. So it's a really good mana management skill, and it was really plebiscited by a lot of bars. I can't say those bars were super meta, but it was definitely a skill you would think of when you needed energy. And they buffed it, making it even better, and it's the recharge rate we're talking about. So you um, mathematically you get more energy per second because of that change. So I think it's a good change. I think we've already started seeing a little bit more usage of the skill. I think it opens up for some energy heavy bars that were underplayed because you didn't have enough energy solutions. And I think that solves that a little bit. So I think it's a good change. I like that change. It's at least an A tier change, honestly. I wonder if it's not an S tier change. I think S tier change might be a little bit too much, honestly. But A tier is already up there, right? I like it. I like it. Clumsiness. Increase recharge from 8 to 12. Reduce damage from yada yada. Okay, we are gonna enter something, and if I could dream that the devs and whoever is in charge of the skill update if I could dream, they would hear 10% of my video. It would be that part. Okay, sorry, my headset shut down again. I probably fixed that problem for a while now. Okay, so um, as I was saying, if I could have the devs listen to one of my suggestion, or not a suggestion, but more like complaint actually, it would be the following. There is gonna be skills in the Mesmer change that I think I am fairly confident I understood what's going on from the dev part. And if I understood correctly, it is very worrying changes. And I demand all people attention here because I think the PvP community needs to voice that problem. And I think the PvE community voiced the same problem on the other spectrum, basically. This change, this change, and other change we're gonna see in the Mesmer part are bad changes, and it's really easy to understand where they come from. They come from the devs looking at skill usage without looking at the game mode it's used in. And this skill in PvE is used by 99% of meta teams that people call Mesmer way or something like that, Hero way, or I don't know. This skill is the same. Maybe not 99%, but it's a very, very, very good skill. I mean, you're literally making everybody in a range, in a big range, cast longer, making them do less DPS and be more easily eruptible, right? And this is again a skill that was brought in PvE, not in PvP. A skill that was brought in PvE, not in PvP. And there will be more upcoming skills that do that. I think of Mistrust, for example. So what happens here is that the devs, I would say lazily, but I don't even know if they're lazy. It's hard for me to say if they're lazy or if they're clueless. And I mean no disrespect, but you're you're killing a skill in PvP because you're looking at it from a PvE angle. And I'm sure you might have killed the PvE skills from looking at them on a PvP angle. And this is not good. This is not good. And this is clear when you read at the patch note. It is crystal clear that this is the case. And I beg you, whoever is doing that update, those skill updates, please gather some knowledgeable players around you. I don't ask you to make them do the update. I'm not looking to strip you of the power you have as a developer. But you do not have the depth of knowledge those players have, and you need to ask for their help to just make sure you're not doing a mistake. And this change is a mistake. This change is a mistake. This change is a mistake. In PvP at least. I'm not gonna go over PvE too much. And there are others. I'm just trying to just not lose track there. But you're doing mistakes because you do not have um, a safety net of some players with depth in-depth knowledge of the game modes, and you need to get that ASAP to not do more huge mistakes like that. Thank you. Onto the skill itself, clumsiness. Well, from a PvP perspective, it was a not played skill that is not gonna be played even more. It is officially dead. I mean, you could do an X-way and with an illusion that brings that, but honestly, it wouldn't be a good thing. So meme tier, bad change. Don't do that. Conjure Phantasm. Increased duration from 2:13:16 to 4:15:18. Um, I think it was uncalled for. I don't think it's a bad change. I don't think it's a bad buff. It gives a little bit more power to illusion that it wasn't super meta illusion. That skill was in the rare occasions where illusion was used, that skill was used, so it was already a good skill in that magic. So it didn't need a buff, but sure, why not? I really don't mind this change. It's a good change. It's not small, so I won't put it to small. It's sizable, but unexpected and uncalled for, but sure. Crippling Anguish. Reduce energy cost from 15 to 10, increase health degeneration from 1.5 to 2.6. Big change. One more degeneration at eye level and less energy, which was one of the big yikes of the skill, honestly. So huge change, huge change. I think it's a tier change for sure. Um, I like it. I like it. I like it because it opens archetypes of builds that we haven't seen in a while, and those changes can only encourage people to bring back these archetypes. So I like it. Cry of Frustration. Increase recharge from 15 to 20. Reduce AoE damage from 100 to 15 to 75. Coming back to my rant about PvE and PvP changes. This part in PvP, good. This part in PvP, completely uncalled for. You did not need to do that. This is PvE. This is probably PvE as well. This is what's funny about it. Like, the PvP players have probably been like, oh, sure, nice, thank you. But but they were probably like, huh, why? Why would you do that? This is not required PvP change. I think one of the cute things this skill had in PvP is that it had such a big AoE, and now it doesn't. You didn't need to do that. So I'm 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 kind of a bit sad about it. There is no category for that change. Because it's like half good, half bad, and this is more like small. So it's like I wanted to put it to good for the recharge, but to bad for the thing. So just gonna put it in C, even though it shouldn't be there. At least it doesn't mean anything. Actually, if someone reads the tier list just without listening to me, they would probably be like, "What? This is not C. This is probably B." So I'll put it to B. But yeah. Enchanter's Conundrum. Reduce AoE damage from 100 to 75. Um, Meme, meme, bad, dead. I don't know what's the worst between meme and dead actually. It's why? Why both PvP and PvE? This is not used. This skill is not used in PvP. Just look at the numbers. You probably have numbers. Please look at the numbers. This skill is not used in PvP. Why would you even remotely nerf it? That doesn't make sense. You don't nerf skills that are not used. Does not make sense. Dead. Thank you for killing that skill. And shout out to my boy that has played it even though it was nerf. Energy drain. PvP, PvE, PvP, PvE, PvP. Reduce recharge from 30, 25 to 20. So I guess PvP was 30 or PvP was 25 and the other was 30 and they brought it to 20. Good change. Small, good, small, good, probably good. Um, yeah, sure. It's a big investment to have your elite just be about energy, but since you're draining the energy of the enemy, it's all right. Energy surge, probably one of the most impactful change in the update as a whole, because it's a huge, 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 huge nerf for PvE, and it's a sizable nerf for PvP. They are lucky. Same with Cry of Frustration. They did a one size fit all nerf for PvP and PvE, and it's not completely dog. change. I think it's a bit too weak for PvP now, but sure. Um, you didn't need to nerf the AoE range in PvP. That was a mistake, same as Cry. So if you ever listen to me, just revert that for PvP. You don't need to do that. As for that part, it's probably okay, honestly. Maybe you could revert the change and put it to 10 mana, but yeah, other than that, decent change. Um, Illusionary weapon reduce recharge from 25 to 15, increase damage from 840 to 1650. Um, that is definitely someone can cook change for sure. Uh, I encourage anyone to cook something with that. I don't think it's bad, honestly. When I read at it, it's doesn't sound bad, but it's still an illusionary weaponry skill bar. For those who have played back in the day, like 2007, 6, 7. Sorry for the meme. Um, some people remember bars like that, and it brings back memories, but it's not easy to actually come into life. So yeah, someone can cook. Maybe someone can cook. Image of Remorse, reduce activation time from 2 to 1. Good. That skill was underplayed. It was not good. I would never bring it, and now I would bring it. So definitely a good change. Very strong. Good. Very strong. Good. I think it's good. I think it could be very strong because it makes it from unplayable to playable. But yeah, let's give it B. Migraine. Increased duration from 312, 310, 12 to 414, 16. Big increase, by the way. If you look at other increased durations, that one is a bit bigger than the others. And it's good. It's good because Migraine was killed because it was too popular back in the day. But it's so sad that you would never see a migrant. This is such as an iconic skill in the game. I would say so. It was sad that you couldn't do a build around that, and I think now you can. I think now the skill is good enough that you can bring it on an actual team build. Good change. I like it. I love it. Very strong change. Um, Mistrusts. Okay, going back to those questionable changes. Sorry, not that one. This one and this one. You got me. Uh, reduce. So they change it differently for PvP and PvE. But for PvP, they reduce the damage from 1075 to 1060, and they reduce the AoE damage. And they did the same for PvE, but like much higher damage to 80. This is again the prime example of people nerfing skills but having no idea of the game mode they're nerfing it in. And this one has a PvP version, so it's even bigger of a mistake than clumsiness, for example. Um, I wonder if this change affects PvP. Not that I think about it. Let me check in a heartbeat in a. So it's a 10, 10, 12, no, 8, 12. Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, it did affect PvP. It did affect PvP. So, so yeah, so it's a bad change. It's a bad change. You have a PvP version. Make a PvP skill. You don't need to nerf that skill. It wasn't good enough. That skill literally was not good enough. If you had not touched it, it would still not be played. If you had buffed it, it maybe could be played, but maybe it wouldn't even be played. But now you nerfed it even more than it was. So you killed it. So it will go with the meme. Why did you touch this? You need to be careful. You need to be careful. You need to have an understanding of PvE versus PvP. Um, Overload. Reduce damage from 100 to 75. I mean, I'm sorry, but It has to be in meme. Why? You need to account for PvP. I'm sorry, but this skill is not played in PvP. If you buffed it from 100% to 125, it will still not be played. If you buffed it to 100% to 200%, it could not be played still. So you shouldn't nerf it in PvP. Do your PvE change on the side and do your PvP change on another side. Don't do a one size fit all because it will not fit. Poroflux. Increase recharge from 10 to 15. That's a weird change, honestly. I can't say this is played in PvE, or maybe I'm not aware, and it was not played in PvP, or not in any kind of remotely serious build. So I guess they just nerfed the cooldown as a general um, interrupts recharge rate across the board nerf, you know? They're like, okay, we're gonna nerf recharge rates of rupts in general, so we're gonna nerf that one as well, otherwise it may remain too OP. Um, sure. Um, but I think what it does for this skill in particular is it might just kill it. But I get the idea behind it. I get the idea. It's sure. Uh, if this was a yeah, I could put it to C, but it's yeah, DC. Okay, sure. It's like nobody will cook obviously because it's gonna be worse than it was, but it's better than it was if you compare it to some other solutions. So I get the idea. Power lock, increase recharge rate from 12 to 20. This one is super annoying to rate, and I think some of the more knowledgeable PvP players will know what I mean because I want to put it to S. But the problem is there are similar skills when it comes to RUPS and 12-second recharge that were not touched. I think the most obvious one is Power Spike. So you're like, oh nice, they touch Power Lock recharge rate, but they didn't touch Power Spike. And when you think about it, Power Spike was played in 99% domination bars, and Power Lock on its in fact was not played in 99% of domination bars, more like 10% or 15%. It was a really good skill and it kind of deserves a nerf, but Power Spike is so much better and it did not get nerfed. So there was clearly an overlook there. It's another thing some knowledgeable PvP players could have pointed out. So it's a bit sad. It's a bit sad that this is not the case. I do believe this is still an S tier change, but I am a bit sad that um, Power Spike did not join that, um, and it's a mistake. Um, Psychic instability recharge from 12 to 20. So it's the same ID. It's the same ID. That skill was too strong. That skill is still good. I think it's a S tier change because it's a big nerf, but it's still a good skill, especially when you see that they nerfed Energy Surge, right? So they're nerfing other solutions of PI. So it's like you're kind of you kind of the nerf to PI is actually smaller if you also nerf the other solutions to it. So S tier change still alive, same as Power Lock, still alive. Good changes. I wish we would see another more reps up there. It is what it is. Signet of Illusion. Change functionality to your next 1/3/3 non-illusion spells use your illusionary illusion attribute instead of their normal attribute. First time when I read that I understood nothing, and now when I read it again I understand nothing. I'm not sure how it was before, and I'm like, sure. We don't know what it was before, so I'm not sure what it was before. When I read at it like that, I'm like, it really looks similar to what it was. I don't know exactly what it was before, but I kind of know the skill, right? So it's hard for me to really see what they changed, and I feel like it's as good as it was, meaning not insane. So maybe someone cooks. Um, Shattered Illusion. Reduce AoE damage from 100% to 75 on both. You guys know where this is going, right? This is going right to the meme tier. Don't do that. Don't change things for both game modes when you don't know how much they're used in the PvP game mode. Thank you. Signet of Humility. Reduce your non-mesmer skills are disabled for X seconds from 10 to 4. Huge buff. Huge buff. The skill was already good. It had this downside that it was hard to use when you were bringing other proficient skills, if I may say. Um, so big buff, in fact. I like this buff. I think I like it. Um, it's kind of a very strong change to be honest, but maybe not that strong, you know. It's like I think eh, kind of feels wrong to put it up there. I'll leave it in B. Good change though. Tease, increase recharge from 15 to 20. There, I have no explanation, guys. Okay. I guess the only explanation I have is the RUPS in general. We're gonna nerf the RUPS, but why did you put Perflux 15 to 10, 10 to 15 if you're gonna put that one that's already at 15 to 20? Does not make sense. That skill is not used in PvP. It's not gonna be used. It's dead. Could be meme, but it just killed it. I wanna, yeah. It's like, why did you touch it? A good way to buff it was to not touch it. You know, you want to buff this skill. I mean, they don't want to buff it, obviously, but a good thing would have been don't touch it. You're nerfing other solutions, other like alternatives. Then don't touch this one and see it played more. But you touch it, you nerf as well. Like you know, it doesn't make sense. You shouldn't have touched this skill and it would have been better. It's one of those cases where you don't do anything, it's better. Okay, I think very controversial PvE changes. Um, I don't think we can account PvP for that change, so don't blame us, PvP players. Um, Increase recharge rate from 3 to 5 for PvE, but I'm not gonna rate it, right? Because we don't care. We're not talking about PvE here. But I know the PvE players are not pleased with that change. Wastrel Worry. Increase recharge from 1 to 4 and reduce the AoE damage. Meme tier. Meme tier. Why not PvE? Why not? Why didn't you do the same? PvE. You see here? You do it here like PvE the same. I kind of want to do it for yourself, you know? Like, can I do it? It's gonna be fun, right? You do it like this. I can fix it for you. Just call my services. I'll help you. Oh, actually, I cannot do that. It's in the title. Oops. Oopsie. You see? I can. Okay, I should have not put it in the link, but you get the idea. This is just do the same, but for PvE. Don't touch the PvP skill. It's all right. It was barely played, and when it was played, the recharge was clearly not a problem, and the AoE was clearly not a problem. If you would touch it another way, I don't know. Um, yeah, uh, meme tier, and I will leave it here because obviously this is not a PvP change. All right, that sums it up. Here's the tier lists. Couple S tier changes, mostly the RUPs, as we can see. A lot of meme tiers in this video. I think there was no meme tier in the last video for the Sin and the Dervish, and now we have a lot of them. I'm a bit sad that this happened. I wish that the devs would contact more some knowledgeable players for to just to prevent this basically. Um, Some irrelevant changes, they're gonna need more. Some interesting changes, some very good changes. Overall, it's a good update again for the Ellie and the mess, but i- it's a bit it's a it's a bit bittersweet for the Mesmer, honestly. Um, it could have been much better and without too much changes. It's like some good changes, but some really bad changes. And if we just remove the bad changes, it would have been a perfect update for Mesmer. Yep, it is what it is. Don't hesitate to comment in the video. We can have some exchanges if you guys don't agree with some stuff I said. Um, Next time we will go over the Monk and Necro. Monk and Necro, and then yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Next time is the Monk and Necro. I will do a video. I don't know when, probably in the next couple of days. I will try to do it soon though, much sooner than this one. And yeah, this is it for me, Elementalist and Mesmer. Done. Thank you for listening, and see you on the next video. Bye.